Okay, to give an explanation of some of the sizing, I've went and grabbed a couple different sizes of things. The largest bolt size seems to be a 13 millimeter, as per fitting up a socket to it. Should grab a 12 quick and double check and make sure it's not actually 12. It is just loose enough to make me reconsider that as a fact. It is definitely a 13 or a SAE size. Okay, so the big ones are 13 millimeters. I don't think we have any 12s. Everything looks to be a 13. The next size down appears to be a 10. And then our smallest size is an 8. Those are, yep, 10s, 10s. That's an 8. And then we have a Torx on the bottom, which is probably a 20. And then we have an outside Torx, which is some funky sauce. Which technically feels like an 8 for fitment if you fit a regular 8 millimeter socket over it, but I know it's not because it's Torx, whatever the heck that's called. Alright, so what else do we got going on here? Let's figure out what size Torx that is. And then I will give you a nice up close and personal view of all of this stuff so you can actually see all the crap that's going on that. Well, those Torxy bits go. I think those are back in the box of doom. Garbage. Grab a crappy Torx set. Of which I should have some already. Today on, is it an oddball size or not? It's bigger than a 20. It's probably a 30. A 30 seems a bit loose. So I'd venture to say it's probably 35, so we're going to go, let's see if I've got a T35 to try and match that up to. Which I should have. So what the hell happened to all those? I know what shit up, not the right shit. So I do have, pretty sure that this is a generic brand that I picked up at Menards. It's Performax. It says they meet or exceed ANSI ratings. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at the 40. I'm trying not to kill myself, get it out. It's definitely not a 40. Probably a 30 or a 35. I think if I have a 35, so I think that was another size, that was on this garbage. That was a 40. hurt the dirt. Trying to think if I have any other Torx that would fit that. Unless that would fit one of the wood drivers for the specialized wood screws. Sort of doubtful. Doesn't hurt the look. What oddball size do we have here? It's also a 230. It's probably a 230. So those are marked 230. That's garbage. Those are too small. It's probably a 230. Educate the guess. We'll come back to that at a later point in time. Go ahead and pop this off and we'll take a quick tour of that side of the casing. Okay, so we have our main wiring harness that comes in. That comes in off the wiring harness. This comes on down. Dip-a-doo. There is a sensor plug here, 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 and on the very bottom there's an additional one. There's one that goes to this body plate right here that I was talking about. There's another one up here, and this goes to your shift indicator. I think that's about it, aside from whatever drives that solenoid or whatever that is. I have to actually look. Well, let's go through and take a look at all these different bolts. So these are a 13 millimeter up here. These are the large sizes. So we have what looks like a 10, a 13, a 13, special Torx bit, which is an inverted Torx. It takes a socket. And then this is an 8 right here. And there's another one right here at the bottom. There's another one here, here, and then an 8. Those last ones were 10s. This is a 10, 10, another 13. We have one hidden behind a harness. That's a 10. And then this whole front plate cover is a 10, a 10, a 10, a 10, a 10, 10, 10, 10, the whole way around on that plate. And what other weird stuff do we have? We have an 8 that holds this on. We have a 10 that's back up and behind this sensor. We have an 8 behind this sensor. And that's all I can see down there. Behind the harness there's another 10 right here at this bottom edge. And that covers that. Down by this sensor there is another 8. There's a 10 down here on this part of this plate. This is that Torx bit I'm talking about. I think that's a T30. It's either T30 or 35, which is an oddball size. Then we have an 8. Then we have a 10, a 10, a 10, and another 10. I don't think there's anything else to see in all of that. I think that covers all of those bolts. And we will get to the part of where I tear down the rest of this at some point in the future. Yay. Some other notes. This has a metal outer gasket, and on the inside it's rubber. And it goes the whole way around it. You'll want to check that. Make sure you don't have any rips or tears in it. I'm assuming it's pretty safe to reuse this because it's not any real type of special crush gasket or anything like that that I can tell. Because it looks, by the corrosion on it, it looks like it's an aluminum outer plating, and it has the rubberized inner, which is, I think, just a sealing coat that goes on it. So I think you'll want to check that and make sure there's no nicks on any of that gasket before you go to reuse it. Hooray! The only other thing of interest is that you'll probably want to clean up this face before you put any of this back together, because this part is exposed to the outside and this is on the inside. If you look, you can see the shiny ring that runs around that. there's a mating seal on the inside of the housing that splits it off from the rest. It seals it off from the inside from the outside. This is that inner mating ring. Mine still looks good. As you can tell, it needs cleaned up on that inside that goes to the outside. This whole surface in here, it's super, super dirty. And I already cleaned out a whole bunch of goop that was in this case because something ate itself. Black, nasty goop.